Hi there, Sam Sorbo for the Accidental Homeschoolers 10-Step Program. I've decided that's what I'll call it. It's a little late, it's the last day. This week we've talked about making your list of pros and cons, chores, and figuring out what your family life will look like when your children are fully integrated into your everyday, reaching out to homeschool groups to get some support for yourself, to find a community that might be open to receiving you, because we do want community. Getting some books about home education, starting to do a little bit of research. What is my home education style? How can I best serve my kids? Rechecking your list of pros and cons, and then resolving some of them that you might have still had questions about. And then this week we talked about assessing your space. What do you need to get started? Assessing your children and their needs. We talked about naysayers, how basically just tune them out. Please don't listen to them, because there will always be questions. You've got your own naysayer in your head. You don't need extra ones outside. Also making a list of your specific questions and then trying to get them answered. Try to answer as many questions as you have right now, while you've got the time and the impetus and the motivation to do it, so that over the summer you can really start to gear up to the fall, to making the big decision, right? So today, and I said, by the way, I'm always encouraging people, email me with your questions. Email me with your curriculum. If you've got curriculum coming home from school that you're doubtful about, email me with that. I'm happy to answer emails. This is, as you can probably see, I'm passionate about this and I really want to help people. And then, so today I'm going to talk about making a plan for the summer. You get started with just a little bit. Now, I've often advocated that. This year is going to be different because you have been home educating, but in theory you've been doing it to the tune of someone else, which is how I got started, right? So my son was in second grade and he had turned in a book report every month since we had started. So 5 book reports. I'd never gotten one back. I was very active in the classroom, and so I just thought that the teacher would tell me stuff just automatically. But that proved to be a complete fallacy, because one day I was helping her clean up the classroom after school and I said, "Hey, how are Braden's book reports?" And she said, "Oh, not very good." And I was like, "What?" "Oh, not very good at all, no." So I started doing, first of all, I was shocked and I was dismayed that it took me asking to discover that it wasn't just automatic. When I went to school, it was automatic. You got your graded paper back. Now I'm learning they don't even return tests to kids that are graded. So they just tell the child, well, you got a 67 on your math test. And the child doesn't have a chance to see the mistakes that the child made. And frankly, that was at a Christian school. I was really appalled because I came in to tutor her. But I digress. So I started doing book report with my child every day after school. And the paper was so dumb. I mean, I had worked on the book report with him before that, but I hadn't really paid attention to it because I was just sort of checking the box. I was just, okay, he did his book report and this and whatever. And so at least she knew that his book reports were bad. I suppose that's to her credit, that she knew right away that his book reports were bad. I liked her. She was a nice gal. But I started doing book report with him every day after school, and I realized that the book report form that he was filling in was kind of dumb and dull, and so it was annoying for him to do, and it was annoying for me to do. And I'm like, well, if it's annoying for me to do and I'm actually interested in book reports and in having him do schoolwork, how much worse must it be for him? And what's that teaching him about schoolwork? That it's awful, that it's boring, learning is icky, nobody likes it. Like, it's teaching him a whole bunch of lessons, and that's what brought me into considering home education. Also, I realized that while I'm doing book report with him, I'm home educating him. We're just doing it at the end of the day when we're both tired and cranky and hungry, frankly. And so it was sort of a recipe for failure. And that's why I just finally started thinking about home educating the kids. And so over that summer, even though I had done a bit, and there are a couple different stories in my book about that, about the experience that I had in school and then out of school and how I transitioned and all that. And this is available at samsorbo.com, and I highly recommend it. Over that summer, I got some workbooks, and we did like baby school. Not school for babies, but we did, like every day, we did a couple of pages in the workbooks. And I was just like, hey, we're going to do a little bit of school today. We're just going to try this out. Here's your workbook. Let's do 2 pages. You start. And so that was like the soft re-entry, or the soft entry, I suppose, into home education for us. And then that allowed me the time to get curriculum in order for the school year and really sort of get started. And I was very blessed, and that story is also in this book, of the different people that I consulted and how they came alongside me, and the different parts of the curriculum that I found that I just felt really blessed to have found. So I recommend this because this will get you started on your journey. You'll see what it looks like, what it can look like, and it's different for every family. So to recap, you made a list of pros and cons. You made a list of, part of your list of pros and cons. This is why I said now revamp your list of pros and cons. So we did it on Monday, and then we revamped it on Friday, because part of the pros of homeschool are that your children are integrated into the family, and they become part of your family unit. And that's important for them to know that they belong somewhere, that they are part of this, because in school they may or may not belong. There's no guarantees, but at home they do belong. And it's your job to make sure that they belong. And that's part of parenting. You don't make your children feel like they don't belong, ever. They should always feel like they belong. Unless they've done something really egregious and there's like a punishment involved, but they're still feeling like they belong, even though they've been sent to their room momentarily or whatever, right? So anyway, I digress again. We talked about pros and cons. So chores, and it doesn't have to be chores, but chores it sounds like a nasty word, but it's not. It's basically your contribution to the family and your value as a family member. There's a give and take, because when they do a chore, it's something that they are contributing, and it's important that they know that they contribute to the family, that they are necessary. That's important. So they do get something out of it. So the chore is not just about you making them do stuff. Does that make sense? There's an exchange that happens. We talked about reaching into the homeschool community and seeing if you could make some connections there. See if you can make some new friends, and see other families and how they get it done, and join a community, right? We talked about you doing a bit of research, getting a book or two on home education, or just on education in general, and forming an opinion about what education should look like. What was wrong with your education? What would you change from your education? Me personally, I hated school, so I would change it, which I did. And while I don't think you're going to get my kids to say that they love school, they do love learning. And they will tell you that. Okay. And then we talked about assessing your space, assessing your children and what their needs are, not listening to naysayers, making a list of your specific questions. Get specific now. What do you need to have answered in order to make your decision? And we're doing this now as a preparation for this autumn and back to school. And then finally, make a plan for this summer. Go online right now and take a look at some workbooks. I just recommend workbooks, but if your kids are older, go online to, there are a number of sites where you can find reading lists and get some classic literature for your children to read over the summer. And that goes all the way down into grade school. There are plenty. So it's not just workbooks, it's classic literature. So they have a summer reading list, and I'm sure you've heard of that. So maybe you get math books, and summer reading. So your kids have a responsibility every day to do a little bit, because learning happens all the time. And you can get some cool science projects for the summer, bug collecting kits, or leaf study, and yeah, I've got a lot of videos, so check out the rest of my videos, because I could go on and on. Clearly this video's taking much more time than I want it to take. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Sam Sorbo for The Accidental Homeschooler. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube, and also please share these with other parents. We're all going through a lot right now, and I know that they could use some uplifting empowerment, and that's what I'm here for. Go to samsorbo.com, sign up for my emails, and God bless you. Have a great weekend.